Back for another video. My name is Josh Kastic, and today is my Ms. Marvel spoiler review. So if you have not seen the show yet and don't want any spoilers, I don't know why you clicked this video when clearly spoiler is in the title. But I'll still give you 10 seconds to leave the video, alright? Alright, you have been warned. If you have not leave the video, that's your fault. And so without further ado, let's get into the plot. So the show kind of starts off with a YouTube video where we hear Kamala Khan narrating, and she is a huge Marvel fan. She likes pretty much all superhero. Not did I say a huge Marvel fan? The actress is a huge Marvel fan, but she's a huge superhero geek. The character specifically, and she likes all of them, but specifically she likes Captain Marvel at the top. And that's kind of her characterization. Then we kind of get into their family and friends. So she's obviously part of a Muslim family. Her family, I think somewhat, based on my learn, kind of falls into a Muslim family. I still think there are some problems based on what I've learned. Obviously, I'm not Muslim, so I can't say for sure. And also Kamala Khan, she doesn't really seem to care about that at all, really. She's very socialized in society and her culture for her age, and I'm not sure if the Muslims would be happy with that, like, based on what I've learned. And this show is supposed to be catered towards them, so I don't know. Obviously, I'm not Muslim, so I don't know how I feel about that, but that's just my 2 cents on it. But that's besides the point. That is not the main point of this show, or it's not the main point of this video, or why I watched this show, which is not for that, but because I like superheroes and I like Marvel, and I think Miss Marvel is an interesting character. So that's really what I want to focus on here. So let's kind of continue. So she has a best friend named Bruno. He is a young high-tech genius. He's got, I can't remember if it's the first episode or the second episode, he is told that he has gotten early admissions into Caltech University. And so, yeah, that's pretty much his character. But he's not sure about taking it because he doesn't want to leave Kamala Khan. They're friends, but it's clear obvious that Bruno has feelings for her. It's kind of obvious. And that's kind of besides the point. Now, she has, obviously, a father, a mother, and then she has her brother, who's actually about to get married, which is another plot point within the show. And that's kind of how it is. So, in the room, she gets a box full of stuff from her grandma, who's in Karachi, which is in Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of there's that. So now there's in this thing is a thing called the bangle, which she doesn't know what it is, and her mom really isn't happy with this box, and she kind of takes it away. She doesn't want. It seems like she really doesn't want anything to do with her mother in any way. Not Kamala Khan. Kamala's mother's or the grandma. She has nothing to do with. They seem to. Kamala Khan's mother and her grandma don't seem to have a good relationship. So that's the main point there. So that's kind of how it's going on. Now Bruno and Kamala Khan want to go to this Comic-Con. And there's a contest there where you can win if you dress up in a Captain Marvel, who's like has the best costume for Captain Marvel. And so she's been working on the suit and whatever. And then she's begging her parents to let her go. She was going to go take a driving test to get her license, but unfortunately she fails by accidentally backing reversing into the person taking her test, like the guy, whatever you call him, the conductor, whoever. She backed up into his car, damaging it. So obviously she did not pass immensely, and so now she has to beg her parents to take her. But they weren't really happy because this is a party, and there's going to be a bunch of people, and this obviously within the Muslim culture and religion, that's that seems a little bit problematic. Without them being regulated, because males and females that need to be separated and all that type of thing. So but they do allow her to go if she wears this kind of how would you call it? It's like the Hulk, but with a little bit of the Muslim clothing built with it, type of thing, to kind of I'm not sure if that's the best way to put it. I'm not 100% sure what's the best way to put it, but basically she would wear that instead of the Captain Marvel, and then her dad would wear a matching suit, and then they would go together. And she's not having it. She's not happy with that. She'd be embarrassed, and she gets grounded for what she said. But Bruno, being a high-tech genius, they created a device that would distract her parents, so they go. So they sneak out, and she wanted to add something cool to her suit, to make it more than just Captain Marvel, but make it kind of hers. So she goes back to the attic and gets the bangle. Then they go to the Comic-Con, and now Bruno also builds these kind of photon gloves, which I guess is a call to Photon, the superhero that we kind of get introduced in WandaVision. I forgot her name, but she's the daughter of Maria Rambeau. So obviously her last name's Rambeau, but I don't know. I don't know her first name. I can't think of her first name off the top of my head. So there are some questions to there that maybe Photon has been doing superhero work since WandaVision. If she's well known as Photon Gloves, so that's the whole point. So that's a little bit interesting, but that's besides the point. So obviously she goes in the bathroom she has to get her suit and everything ready with the things for the contest. She actually drops the gloves, but she puts on the bangle, and then somehow she gets this energy through her. And then when she goes on stage with all the lights, her powers activate. And causes a panic. She cuts off Ant-Man's head. A hammer. Another person. I forgot her name, but she goes to the same school as Kamala Khan, and they don't really like each other. But she kind of fits the whole Instagram, Snapchat type of culture. They're like wants to put her name out there and cares about her followers and all that type of thing. The personality, she's very like that type of personality that they kind of play through a lot in teen shows. It's the typical character. Well, she gets in trouble, and this is actually taken from the comics. And basically she gets launched on a hammer and then falls off, but Kamala Khan saves her using her powers. Now, what's in the comics, she stretched out her hand because she can embiggen her body and stretch it out in all type of ways. But they changed it for the show, where it's all crystal-like. She still kind of embiggens and stretches, but not specifically her limbs, but a kind of light energy-based kind of thing comes from her hands and stretches out, like it saves her. So kind of like the comics, but in a different power sort of way. And I think they did that for the show in order to, I guess, more relate to Captain Marvel, who's also has energy-based powers, and even Photon, who's also going to be energy-based, and all three of them are going to be in the sequel to Captain Marvel called The Marvels. So it's kind of interesting there. But that's besides the point. Now, the main point at the end of the episode, Damage Control sees this on YouTube and wants to get this individual. then we get into the second episode now. The first episode ends when her gets back to her home and she gets caught by her mother. But she's not worried about that. She's just cool about the new possibilities of her powers. So, now the second episode, the main point of the second episode is training her powers. She does get, based on the technology from Bruno, we learned that this power isn't from the Bengal, but coming from herself. Kind of either like inhuman-like or mutant, but because in the comic she is inhuman, but there's going to be some more details of that as we get to the end of the show. So that's the main point of the episode. Mostly that she also goes to a party held by that that one girl from high school. Talk about the savior. She was saved by her and wants to do a party for her and all that. And her viewers went up talking about that. Another main point of this episode is her another friend Nakia, and she's trying to make a change in their the Muslim equivalent of the church, mosque. I think the mosque is that. Yes, mosque. Trying to make change in the mosque by becoming on the board, and she does actually get in, while because she promoted to certain viewers. Now another part of this episode is obviously the what's it called? Damage control. They find the girl who's been posting about the Kamala Khan or the super, and they're calling her Nightlight, which is interesting. And they confront about her, talk to her about it, and they assume that most likely that Kamala Khan is Muslim, and so they kind of go to that church, and there Nakia kind of talks back to him saying that you have a warrant, you can't walk on the premises, and that's what kind of gets her the win. That's the most point of the second episode is her Kamala Khan suggesting that she runs, her eventually agreeing to it, then trying to get votes and all that, and then at the end of the episode, we have a kind of an event like where all the Muslims of the city, of Jersey City, come to this event and stuff, and then a boy being like trying to get more views or whatever gets on a really big tower out the window and then falls off, and obviously Kamala Khan, she gets her Captain Marvel suit and tries to save him. And this is when she gets a vision of her great-grandmother, her grandmother's mother, and this kind of, she drops the boy but able to save him, and she's getting a lot of visions from ever since playing on the Bengal. Then she gets confronted by damage control, but she was saved by this character named, what was his name? Come on. Why am I blanking on his name? Man. But he's a very important character to the story. See, they actually met him at the party because Kamala Khan goes to that party, and because of seeing him. Now he's a new senior at the school, and then he gets invited to the party and stuff. And Kamala Khan merely kind of starts liking him. And at the party, the police kind of show up and they start running, and they kind of have a joyride in his car. Bruno, Nakia, all of them go in his car and they kind of drive around and stuff. So they kind of really hit it off. And they were starting having a budding relationship through the second episode. I didn't want to keep that, but she gets saved by him and his mother. Man, it's gonna really hit me out of the head when I say that I don't remember that. But obviously that's kind of how it's going on. The second episode, we find out that Kamala Khan's great-grandmother was from another dimension, and all of the guy's mother and all of them are from this dimension, but they're kicked out, and they are called the clandestines. But here on Earth, they're called the Jinn, which is a Muslim demon creature thing. I really don't know much about it, but that's kind of the whole point. And I forgot a major point in the second episode is talking about this called the partition, and there the great grandmother she went missing during that, and that Kamala Khan's grandmother as a child was saved by light or stars of light, and she found her father through that, and they got the last train out of there to Pakistan, and then that pretty much follows the entire thing. So they have no idea what happened to his grandmother, but we'll find out later as the show goes on. So that's the main point, is that with the help of Kamala Khan, they could go back to their dimension. And then at the end, we have the wedding kind of thing with her brother throughout this third episode. But then Bruno tells her that in order to get them to their other dimension, things are going to go kablooey. And so she tells that guy, come on, I really can't believe I'm blanking on his name. But basically, onto his phone, but his mother saw that, and they decided to go attack Kamala Khan and force her to do that. And so that guy shows up at the wedding to confront Kamala Khan that his mother and all of them are coming here and are going to kill everyone. So she goes and pulls a fire alarm, and a huge battle ensues between Kamala Khan and all these clandestines. And then Damage Control kind of comes in, captures all of them, and she's able to escape. Then during this kind of whole sequence, she also sees another vision with the guy's mother of a train, which is supposed to be the last train to Pakistan, or that's a vision. Then her grandmother calls her talking about that you saw the train and that they must come to Karachi. So her mother and them go there, and that's the fourth episode. Here we are into the fourth episode. They go to Karachi. We can see some of her cousins. We get to see more of the culture in Pakistan. And we also get to see their family. That's the main point of this episode. Another point is rekindling the relationship between the grandmother and the mother, as well as kind of how the grandmother trying to help Kamala Khan through the visions. As she kind of goes throughout the episode, she gets confronted by the Red Daggers, who are kind of enemies of the clandestines, and help protect this place from foreigners or bad foreigners and all that. And there was a huge battle between her and the Red Dagger guy, but they both realize that they don't have to fight. And then he takes her to the Red Dagger headquarters, where we get to see the leader of the Red Daggers, and he informs her that if they open a portal to the clandestines, the whole point of the clandestine dimension will break into our world, destroying a lot of things as we know it, which would be problematic. And so we're trying to fend them off and not let that happen. Now, the clandestines are in a security prison, but they're able to break out. But the mother leaves her son there, because he was also captured by the Damage Control. And then, but he doesn't go with them, but he does. He escapes too. Like, he's not stuck there or anything. But yeah, and yeah. So that's kind of where it is. So then they head to Karachi, and they find Kamala Khan and the Red Daggers, and then a huge chase sequence ensues where the leader of the Red Daggers, he gets killed. And also there, she meets other Red Daggers friends, and she gets to be more with their young culture and all that type of thing. So that's pretty cool. That was interesting to see more, not just all this crazy stuff, but to see more of the high school kind of level, because she is, and friendship and all that type of stuff. So there's that. And then, but basically the chase sequence leads into this area where, while attacking kind of the mother character, the mother clandestine, and Kamala Khan's powers collided, creating a portal to the portal. This kind of teleports Kamala Khan into the past as people were trying to get on the last train to Pakistan. Here in the next episode, we get to see, this episode as well, we get to see a flashback of the great grandmother and how she's a clandestine, and stuff, and how they found the Bengal on a severed hand. But this is when it's like British occupied India, and the British kind of show up and they had to escape, and then she they went their separate ways, and she lands on this farm area where she meets a guy, falls in love, and then they have the grandmother named Sarah. I forgot to mention that's the name of the grandmother, but then they had to leave because the mother, come on, I know it starts with the N, but she shows up and kind of threatens her and stuff, and so they try to escape, but then as they were escaping on the last round of Pakistan, the great grandmother sees the other character, the bad woman or whatever, I forgot her name, starts with an N, and they come on, I'm trying to remember. So that's kind of what happens in this where she tells Sarah and her husband to leave. Then she gets attacked by the other clandestine. She gets killed, and that's why she disappears. Now, originally, Sarah and the father disappeared. Well, it turns out Kamala Khan is the one that helped her back to her father. And then she kind of goes back to the timeline. One of the other clandestines goes to the portal, and she turns into a skeleton forever and dies. And then she tells the main clandestine, the villain, which I've been talking about, was about to go do it too, and Kamala Khan reminds her of her son, but she says that's the only she could close the portal. So she closes it. She dies, but she gives her powers to her son. And then in the process of all this, Sarah, Kamala Khan's grandmother, and then Kamala Khan's mother shows up and sees her powers and everything. And then, so now they're praising her being a superhero, and at first they had a distrust with all the things going on, but now they're all's good. So, and then they go back to New Jersey City, where the guy is on the run, and he has his power suit you can't control, and the damage control after them. He finds Bruno to help him. Then the damage control kind of blow up Bruno's place, but they're able to escape. They also go to the mosque. There, the damage control show up again, but they didn't find them with the help of Nakia. And then one of the earlier episodes, Nakia, I forgot to mention, did find out about Kamala Khan being the Nightlight. And so there, in the pre-episode, she gets a mask, or Miss Marvel mask from Bruno. Here in this final episode, she gets the Miss Marvel outfit, designed with a Muslim pattern of design from her mother, and then she goes off to save Bruno and all of them, and then they go with, and then her brother and all, and then the Instagram girl, they all kind of show up at the school. Damage control's there. She's ordered not to by the head damage control to not go to attack the school because that would be bad, but she does it anyway. All of the distractors beside Miss Marvel and the guy get captured, but a huge battle sequence ensues. She finally gets into her powers, and she's able to defeat damage control and allow the guy to escape, to be saved by the Red Daggers to take him to Pakistan. And then that's kind of where it ends. They're all free. They're all free, and then we get to see later that Bruno took the guy's car, and he reveals to Miss Marvel or Kamala Khan that she is a mutant, and so they're making her a mutant within the show instead of an Inhuman. But the reason why she was made an Inhuman in the comics most likely is because they couldn't make comics about X-Men and mutants, because Fox had the X-Men mutants, and even though they didn't have the rights to comics, they just felt like it'd be bad for them to make more comics while they don't own the character rights for the movies and all that. So they're kind of making her mutants the way she probably would have been during that time. Anyway, and then we have the post credit scene where Kamala Khan wakes up, her bangle energy kind of going wrong, and then she gets sucked into a void in her closet, and then Captain Marvel shows up, and this is probably something that Captain Marvel did on her end, and this is just for the Marvels, and so this will take place in the Marvels. That's pretty much everything, guys. Well, this went way longer than I want, but that's pretty much the end of the show. I really did enjoy the show. I despite not, being a Muslim and, not really caring about that part of the show, everything else I really enjoyed. I thought it was really funny at times. I liked, Miss Marvel. I thought the actress did a phenomenal job playing the character. I liked all their dynamic, Bruno and her dynamic, and all the other characters I think just worked really well. And it's cool to see what else the future for this character within the MCU. Hopefully she'll stop wearing the bangle if she really doesn't need it anymore. Because I really hope she stops wearing that, to be honest. But although I'm upset that they changed her powers, I understand why they did it. And I think her powers in the show still look cool anyway. But, that's besides that's kind of my thoughts on it. Like I said, I think the show ran really well. I definitely do recommend this. I think it's definitely one of the best Marvel Disney Plus shows so far. I definitely do think that. And I enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed all the action sequences. Despite being kind of low level and more high school, there's still a lot of action sequences, and I think they did a really well job balancing both of those within the show. And the CGI, I thought was pretty good for the show too. So that's pretty much all my thoughts, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for my next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.